Morning. My name is Marion Henry, and I'm the Program Manager at the Better Business Bureau. I just wanted to welcome you to our first Affinity webinar. This morning, our webinar is going to be hosted by Office Smart Web Design, and we do have with us one of the owners, Dan Debray. Just before we get started, I just wanted to cover off on a couple of housekeeping items for everyone. So as it mentioned in the recording, all of the participants are in listen-only mode. On the right-hand side of your screen, there is a questions module that if you do have any questions during the presentation, if you want to type those in, we're going to handle those questions at the end of the presentation. The presentation should last about 30-35 minutes, and then we'll take the questions at that time. Just so you know, the webinar is also being recorded and will be posted on our website or on our YouTube following the webinar. And just to mention, on our next webinar will be hosted on November 24th, and it's going to be hosted by Marin Media Incorporated. Jenny Marin will be our facilitator, so be sure and register for that event as well. So what I'll do is just turn things over to Dan Debray. Welcome, Dan.
Oh, welcome, Mary, or thank you, Marianne. I appreciate this. Okay, we'll get started here. Welcome to the webinar kicking off the Better Business Bureau series. Today's webinar is called Fundamentals of Online Marketing. And if I can. Seems like it can do all the practice in the world, and this is now frozen.
Are you? Are you advancing it on your computer, Dan? Maybe stop your PowerPoint and start it again, and don't push pause. Are you clicking the PowerPoint to move ahead?
Yes, I'm trying to, I guess. That is.
Do you want to email me your PowerPoint, and I can see if I can do it from my end, Dan?
So can you see my screen right now?
I certainly can.
Yeah.
Does your PowerPoint have any transitions in it?
That is. Oh, here we go.
There you go. Yep, there you go.
Well, sorry about that. We're going to get started here real quick. Our business, Office Smart's web design, is on Pembina Highway, and we have I guess we just got our sign in January of this year, but we have been at this location. We're on the second floor of the Fort Garry Dental Clinic on Pembina Highway and have been in this location for 5 years. We just got signed up here, and of course we're very, might not be able to see that there at the bottom of the door, but we're proud members of the Better Business Bureau. Our team, the two proprietors, are Mary Jane Debray, my wife and partner. She's on the left, and I'm on the right. My name is Dan Debray. Most recently, we've come together to...
That?
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay, so most recently we came together to formalize our businesses. I had a sales management consultancy company called Sales Expert, which I still do, and Mary Jane's been in the web development business and has had Office Smarts for 20 years. What we did is we saw that the buying process has gone online, and in helping my clients with regards to sales management consultancy, more and more need for small businesses was not to necessarily have a fancy or a big outbound sales team, but to have a more organized and structured inside sales team that could handle inbound leads. So as I was asking my clients who were saying, hey, Dan, can you help me out for getting more and hiring more salespeople because I need more sales, my question would be, well, hey, how well is your website producing leads, and how well is your online inbound marketing producing leads? And usually the answer was not too much, and so we really started with the opportunity to say, hey, let's work there before we go on the expense of getting a bunch of outbound salespeople. So during this process and the research of going into this, we did some research and we found a partner that we wanted to partner with. And this is a think tank company in the United States called Digital Marketer. So most recently in March of this year, Mary Jane and I, or Office Smarts, got certified as an official certified partner of Digital Marketer. So this gives us access almost daily to the latest information that's occurring in this area, because it's really the new technology is changing almost daily. I don't know if some of you are keeping up to speed on what's happening with Facebook. Just as an example, and Facebook is launching new features with lots of benefits, almost one a month here for the last several months, and all of those are to the advantage of the online marketer. So Digital Marketer, the fellow in the middle is Ryan Dice. And we went down to Austin, Texas, and got officially certified there in early in the year, and that's our picture with him. In this webinar, we'll keep it simple. We're going to really just look at the fundamentals and the basics of online marketing. So we're going to look at the fundamentals, of course, because that's what the webinar is called. But then we'll talk about important sources of online traffic, tips on how to attract more qualified inbound leads, conversion goals and metrics, and then the significance of obtaining the permission to market emails in this new environment of CASL, the Canadian anti-spam legislation. Can't help it, the sales manager in me, the sales guy in me, we've got to start with the basic fundamental, and this is the old sales funnel. It's still useful in many businesses, but it's really a sales team sales funnel that's been designed to accommodate the buying process of your target audience. So it starts at awareness, value, you got to generate interest, then you get into demonstration presentation. So as you see how the funnel goes from red to blue, the red is marketing activities. Generally speaking, traditionally the marketing team or the marketing manager in your small business, which is often you because you're wearing a lot of hats, would be in charge of generating awareness and establishing interest. And then you would be handing it off to a person. That's where the blue is. And you know, this is a traditional sales funnel and not necessarily a new sales funnel, because that's not necessarily the case anymore, which we're going to learn is that you're not necessarily handing it off to a person anymore. So this has put the onus of demonstration presentation or providing a lot more robust information online rather than having it delivered by a person. So now as we migrate to the new sales funnel, I want to introduce some new colors, because now we're looking at the same old buyer's journey, whether it's traditional or non-traditional or new online. The buyer's journey is the same. They have three things they need to do. They need to go through the shopping phase, and once they've shopped around, they need to assess or conduct a trade-off analysis, and then they actually move into a phase where they're ready to purchase, and this is where negotiation comes in. So really, another fundamental as we introduce the new funnel, the fundamental of online marketing is really simple. It's about generating traffic and looking to convert that traffic through your funnel. So traffic and conversion. So you've got traffic strategies and conversion strategies. To me, this is the most important slide in the whole slide deck, because you as the small business owner or in charge of your marketing department, you really got to worry about what it is that you're going to do to manage your marketing. And there's three pillars. Especially when you're talking about online, the three pillars, we start with the top left, the media strategy. This is not unlike traditional marketing, where you're going to have a media strategy, where they're going to have traditional billboards or radio advertising. In the online world, it's a little bit different. You might be looking at other strategies or platforms to generate media. But the idea is you need to get eyeballs on your value proposition or eyeballs on something that you're offering that's going to generate interest. So you're looking to attract interest with your initial content, with your media strategy. You go over to the other, the top right, and we have content strategy, and you see right beneath there it says nurturing. And again, that's in the traditional method, it was really the salesperson that was doing the nurturing. A lot of the lead nurturing was done by a person. In the online world, the nurturing is done online via the more sophisticated or more robust content that you've got to come out with. So this is where we see the evolution of blogging, or the evolution of ebooks, or providing more robust content so that someone can go from generating interest to saying, well, hey, I need to assess now. I need to look at, I have a number of questions that need to be answered. And then finally, we can't lose track of the goal. The final of the three sides, or the three corners, the permission to market emails. So at the bottom, when you're talking about online marketing, it's all about getting permission to market. And in this case, permission to market emails, and permission, getting that opt-in. Because once they've given you permission to market, now you can market to them. Now you can drip on them. You can offer them direct response offers, and that's where the money is. So I mean, if you just closed your eyes and if you today have 500 permission to market emails of more or less roughly your network, including significant numbers of your target audience, and you made a goal to say, I'm going to try and get 2,500 permission to market emails in 2 years. 2 years from now, you'd really be in a good position, or at least a better position than you are today. So I often say this, so I'm just gonna lay it out there. To me, online marketing 101, the first goal, and really what it's all about, is to get permission to market emails. That is like one extremely important, tangible goal that you want to set up at the beginning of this. And then once you have command of these three corners of the triangle, now you have an opportunity to develop your communication plan. And when you are posting posts on social media, or you are coming up with clever ideas to put on your pay-per-click advertising, I mean, you shouldn't be just sitting there thinking, what am I going to post tomorrow? It really needs to be tied into a communication plan that's integrated and really comprehensive. And then when you do that, you want to calendarize your activities, and you want to have the discipline of being consistent. Why online marketing? So let's just close this off. Why online marketing? Because some people will still say, hey, why? Well, this is where most of the buyers are now. Most people use the internet to shop and research their options. So we have the buying journey on the left side of this chart. So how people make a purchase. And we have the traditional, where you go back and, well, let's say traditional. Mary Jane, my wife's been developing websites for 20 years. It's really just been in this last 3 years that we've really focused on generating traffic to the websites. Why? Because you could go back 10 years ago, 7 years ago, a lot of people were just happy with their website being an online brochure, because all they were doing was just kind of tire kicking. So that left side, that traditional buying process was true. You'd have to have a website, but it was really not much more than an online brochure. From there, someone would phone a sales rep or a sales representative, or actually go to the store to get their assessment done, maybe get a recommendation, and then continue down the buying phase. Today, or the new side, online is really taking care of, in a lot of cases, the entire buyer's journey. If you do have a store, or you are maybe in a business-to-business relationship game, you're still dealing with, especially in the last few years, people that are very well versed in your products and services, and maybe even your competition by the time you get a call. Why online marketing? What we learned when we went to the States, and especially through our new partnership, and I mean it's obvious, but they really lay it out to you nicely, and it really does make a lot of sense. The smartphone technology has really changed, even just very, very recently. And when you think about it, when you have something that streams, that can facilitate the streaming of Major League Baseball, and it actually looks as good as your TV, and this device is only an arm reaches away from you at any given time, you're really looking at more and more people, wanting to be online. The resolution of the pictures are great. And so this is what's happening. The new technology is not just enticing the young population, because we know that, but it's enticing the older population to adopt the new technology, especially most recently. And this now becomes an advertiser's dream. This is why you want to be online, is that you can target your audience. And you can target them for very little money, and then you can do this phenomenon called remarketing. This remarketing phenomenon, I guess it's not really a phenomenon, but what it is Google and Facebook allow you to build warm audiences in their back end. And what this means is that for very little money, you can get your message in front of people, thousands and thousands of eyeballs, and when they click on your link, or they click, or they download, or basically just visit your blog, you can have a piece of code or a pixel behind there, and you can start capturing their IP addresses. And this is a real big thing, because if 30,000 people have seen your message and 300 have clicked on the link that you've provided, and you're able to capture those IP addresses, you can then go back and remarket them. You don't know who they are personally, because they're captured in the Facebook and Google backends, but you can go back and you can remarket to them over and over again, and to the point where eventually they're going to convert. So why online marketing? It's a business advertising dream. You target, you can start with large audiences, you can send your message to large audiences for small dollars, and you can remarket to warm audiences, which is amazing. And all of this is measured. This is another thing, is that the traditional marketing, it's very difficult to measure. How can you actually measure the return on investment of a billboard, or even a radio ad? I guess you can with a radio ad if you've organized it in a way with a bounce back, but even then, you're relying on some data that may not necessarily be very accurate. So hence we have the new online sales process with some new words to define. But the awareness starts with traffic. That's where the traffic is. So where is the traffic? There's still traditional marketing in there mixed in with online. I've included everything I could think of anyway, but quite a bit of that traffic now is online. So we've got, from the left to the right, traditional advertising, Facebook, Vimeo, Instagram, Twitter, there's Google SEO, there's pay-per-click, LinkedIn, COI means centers of influence, so that's traditional. But you can have influencers online and influencers in your social channels. There's outbound calling that still works and can still be a very important part of your new inside sales process. There's the traditional networking of being involved in associations like the BBB, trade shows, YouTube. And then there's one here that I overlooked on purpose, and that's Kijiji. I've got a number of clients and know a number of colleagues that are generating a lot of online traffic using Kijiji. Kijiji's quite useful for some for some businesses. So your traffic strategy is about getting that traffic and getting them into your funnel by saying something interesting. For goodness sakes, be more interesting. This is where a lot of the people maybe that have weak value propositions or haven't thought through them, or maybe haven't thought through their comprehensive communication campaign, are struggling. But if you've got that laid out, then you should be successful in generating some traffic. From there, the next step, you want to offer that traffic, at least the interested ones, you want to offer them value. So you want to offer them the content. And the close on that is what we call a lead magnet. So this is a chunk of value that's offered up front. So it could be a checklist, it could be a blog article. Blog articles are often free at first, and I'll give you an example on how we can attract someone to a blog article, and then we look to entice them to give us their permission to market by offering them what we call a lead magnet. Okay, and then once you have their permission to market, that email, now you can offer them things like small dollar value offers where you get them starting to be a customer. Okay, and this is something that may or may not apply to your business, but I've got a couple of interesting examples to show you where you not necessarily have to even have email marketing permission to get them to trip on a tripwire. And then finally, you intensify. So types of online marketing: search engine optimization, there's paid advertising, pay-per-click, online advertising, there's social media, there's all kinds of social media platforms, content marketing, video marketing, email marketing, Kijiji, and there's online reviews. I promised Len that I would mention online reviews because why? They're very important, and it's also something that sometimes people think, oh, this is overwhelming, I'm going to have to hire a professional. But here's something you don't need to hire a professional for at all, is your online reviews. And what's really neat is the BBB has a system in place where it's really easy for you to send the link to a satisfied customer and say, hey, can you might want to call them and say, hey, I've just sent you this link, do you mind filling it in? Or maybe you already knew that they were happy and wanted to do this, so you can just simply email it to them and they can fill it in. Where sometimes we're finding that the Google reviews, as powerful as they are, some of the clients aren't necessarily they don't necessarily have Google accounts. You have to have a Google account to be able to give an online review on Google, and that sometimes is a barrier.
Hi, Yolanda. How are you today? Yes.
Oh, you might want to mute that. Okay, just moving along, I wanted to show you a simple online sales process that we're doing with quite a bit of success here. And this is, there's several online sales processes like verticals, and I guess this isn't vertical, but this is a good way of generating traffic is via social media. So we can generate thousands of eyeballs on a message, and we'll send that link, or we'll have a link behind that where there's some content, and I call it a free landing page. It's often a blog. It's often a very interesting blog article. So we're generating traffic for a blog article. Blog articles are typically on the website or embedded in the website, so we're driving traffic to the website from step 1 to step 2. And then embedded in the blog is going to be more value, almost like advertisements embedded in the blog, where we're offering further chunks of value, be it a valuable checklist or a valuable download of some kind. So it's content, more robust content. And if they want to download it, then they've got to give us their permission to market email, or they have to opt in to give us permission to market. And then once we have permission to market and we have some information on what made them want to download, so we would segregate them into customized lists in the database, then we can send them an automated email series that's designed for them. And it happens all automated. It's a beautiful thing. And it is as simple as it is, it's very effective. So here's an example. Here's a client of ours called Superior Walls. They make precast concrete walls. So they kind of make basements for just about any kind of home, but it works really well for ready to move homes. So here's a Facebook post that we would have spent 25 bucks on. And I don't know how well you can see this, but it says 12,065 people reached. So we got 12,000 eyeballs on this ad. And we got over 200 people clicking on this to go to the blog. So here they went. They went to the blog and they read the blog. But the blog was also advertising a download, and so there's for that specific interest, the ready to move home, those 200 people are now exposed to reading the blog, but they're exposed to the advertising we have set inside the blog. And lo and behold, this advertising is quite effective because, you know, every morning we come into the office and it's like seeing what's under the Christmas tree this morning. It's like we get people downloading these lead magnets, and they give us permission to market, and the email database starts to grow and grows every day. It just drips along. And depending on what advertisement they clicked on and downloaded, this then correlates to a list that we've identified in the database. So they're not all getting dumped into one area of the database. They're getting specifically identified basis the interest that they're walking into. So this is just the blog now listing all the blog titles. So this would be the home page for the blog. And again, you've got your lead magnets sitting on the right-hand side, which incidentally, Digital Marketer has just notified us is that the latest is that we should be actually putting these lead magnets below, like more horizontal across the page, kind of like in this case, the one on the bottom here versus the sidebar. Their latest data is saying to us is that it's more effective to be horizontal than in the sidebar. So that's interesting. So we'll have to make that change. Sometimes the advertisement, so here's another example for a client of ours, Ken's Carpets, and what they're doing is they're offering something new. It's called, well, it's something they've been doing for a long time, but something that we wanted to drive was a consultation at home for doing window coverings. So shop at home, free window covering consultation. Now, in this case, you're not necessarily aiming at a top of funnel. What we're making the assumption is that there's people out there that that may not be buying window coverings because maybe they're shut-ins or maybe they're living a little too far away from Ken's Carpets, whatever. But we're assuming that maybe there's people in the middle of funnel or maybe a little bit more ready to buy, and the only reason they don't want to are not buying is because it's a little more difficult for them to get to the store. So in this case, we're going right away from driving traffic of people that might be more ready to buy. So we got 21,328 eyeballs on this on the left side here. If you can see on the bottom there, it's a little bit tough to see. And that's a lot of eyeballs, and that's a targeted audience. And then what we're doing is we're saying, well, click on this, and then if you're interested, sign up. And while doing so, give us permission to market to you. And lo and behold, these things can be effective, really effective. Here's an example of something that's even a little bit more bottom of funnel. It's a tripwire. So this tripwire is a low dollar offer that gives outstanding value, but it's really designed as a trial. So if we go back to the old way, how I've been training sales teams for years, this is really a trial use program, but we call it a tripwire now in the online marketing game. So this tripwire is aimed at farmers during harvest, and it's just saying, has this year harvest got you asking some questions? And if you're interested, for $7 you can you can get advice on 7 commodities for 77 days. And you can see on the bottom on the left here, we drove traffic. We got 30,206 eyeballs on this. Again, a targeted audience. And believe it or not, because people are saying, yeah, I do have those questions, and yeah, $7 isn't a lot of money. I'm going to try you. And so they're actually clicking on this and responding back that not only do they give us permission to market to them, but they say, hey, yeah, I want to give you $7 so I can get on with this program. And one of the things that we've learned, and this does make sense, is that when people actually pay for something rather than get something for free, they're a lot more serious. And they actually cross an invisible line, and it's an important line, is that they actually become a customer. So these farmers that are buying this for $7 are actually pulling out their credit cards and buying this. And that's a big difference. They're really declaring themselves as, you know, I'm really interested and I'm really prepared to determine the value here. And the phenomena of this is that this can really lead to a lot more business down the road. And it does. The kind of conversations that my clients having as a result of this program are really robust, that they're saying, they're giving the buying signals to suggest that, you know, they're going to be, you know, really interested in taking on the full program, which of course is, you know, a lot more significant investment down the road. So my client's really happy because he's saying that, that for the kind of tripwires or kind of people that he's getting on this tripwire via the online advertising, is surpassing the kind of activity that he would be able to get when he's face-to-face in the trade shows, which kind of suggests and validates the fact that things are changing. Just moving on to the right, this is the power of the remarketing. So these 30,206 eyeballs that we got on this initial offer, what we call cold traffic, has you know, and I forget the numbers, but it's substantial. It's like 500 or 600 people clicked on this offer on the left. And when they click on it, not all of them converted, not even close. Little less than 10%. But we still got the IP addresses of those 600 people. And it allows us now to remarket to them. So on the right, we have the remarketing message. It said, did harvest get in the way? Did you forget to take advantage of this? And what happens is that's going to a much smaller audience. You can, I'm not sure if you can see, but it says 170 people reached. So this thing hasn't completely done. This thing was kind of, snapshot was taken before this thing was done. But you can see that the numbers are far, far less, but the quality of the numbers are much, much higher because these are people that initially demonstrated they had interest by clicking on this initial offer in the first place. And this is the power of remarketing. So you can actually remarket to these people several times. So all in all, throughout these slides, you can see that there's quite a bit of data and metrics provided in these examples of these. These would be all Facebook posts. But if you want some more metrics, you can go to Google Analytics, and Google will show you where the traffic's coming from to your website or to your domain. And you just have to go to Acquisitions and Overview to find out where the traffic's coming from. And then from there you can drill down, and you can spend hours and hours really analyzing, you know, where you're getting traffic to your landing pages, blogs, or website, and what's paying off. And so by getting that kind of information in real time, you can analyze it, and then you can read and react. And that's a beautiful thing for marketers. That's something that we maybe didn't have. We really didn't have with many of the traditional forms. I guess you could argue that, but you definitely have it a lot more in this case with online marketing. The last point that I had for covering in this webinar was about the importance of permission to market emails. And again, like I think I've kind of covered that, but you're not going to find anyone anywhere saying that email marketing isn't money. The literature And you know, the recent results that we're getting, and just by practicing this for a number of years, we've been email marketing out of this office for years, and being able to get that trust bond with your clients and your network so that you can email high quality information born from a comprehensive communication campaign. I recommend right away that you should be emailing a minimum of 4 times a year, a quarterly e-newsletter. If you're not doing that, if you just did that one thing, you would really substantially increase the amount of online activity generated. Anytime we send an email for our clients, there's an immediate spike to all their online landing pages, blogs, or websites. So, you know, is online marketing, you know, good for generating traffic and identifying qualified leads? Yes, it is. And so here's really the new conversion metrics. This is what you convert on. So at the beginning, to generate traffic, you got to convert on things. This is the initial permission to market that you need. You got to get Facebook likes, you got to get engagement, you got to get LinkedIn connections, you got to get Twitter followers, you got to get subscribes, you got to get link clicks, you got to get video views from YouTube or Vimeo. And you know, those are all measurable. And that's all an indication on whether you're driving traffic or not. And then if you look at those numbers and you visit them and revisit them, you're going to think of ways of making it be more successful for you, and hence, you know, your actions are going to pay off. You want to measure those opt-in emails, and you want to drive them. That has to be a major objective for you. When you have that, you have power. You have the power to communicate with your client, your paying client, and that's important. That is something that is so overlooked with some people, and again, that's why I really want to drive it here in this webinar. If you're looking at trying to generate this with you know, an inside sales team and using inbound marketing techniques, you really need to be thinking of a small dollar purchase that's linked to a bigger relationship, paying relationship, and this can be very important and profitable for you. And then once they purchase that small dollar program or product from you, if you've done good with that, if they've had a pleasant trial experience with you, they're going to be ready for more. So what does that mean, ready for more? It might still mean that you have to extend your online sales process, but it might continue online. So it might continue online where there's a live person contact, and we often see that when people, if you're shopping for things that are provided to you from a web-based business like GoDaddy or Salesforce, where they're doing it all online, and you start hitting the price page, you're going to get a feed saying, hey, do you want to talk to a live body? Because a live body is still recognized as more effective in the negotiation stage, because people will still want to ask a lot of questions on the differences between the A product versus the B product versus the C. But that's still done online. In a lot of small businesses, I recommend that this is where, you know, it might even be at the small dollar purchase level, or maybe just after the small dollar purchase level, that the inside sales team actually personally engage the customer to see if they want to have a discussion and further discuss some of the options that you have available. And this is a very efficient place for a live body to interact right at the small dollar purchase portion of this sales process. Or you can continue to a shopping cart. You know, if they're really ready for more, they're ready to buy, and they're pulling out their credit card, and away you go. So your well-designed online sales process can be a powerful tool for increasing inbound leads. It can qualify the leads. You're educating prospects, again, from a comprehensive communication campaign. You're obtaining permission to market, and you're preparing them for the purchase. So the one thing that I had promised was a handout And I guess really right now I'm prepared to just kind of go through this handout to kind of fortify what we talked about, but maybe there's some questions.
We don't have any questions right now. Does anybody have any questions they'd like to enter to ask Dan about the seminar? Okay, well, Dan, I think you can probably go ahead and go over your handout. If there is any more questions, I'll let you know before
That's
we
fine.
wrap up.
Yeah, and if somebody has questions afterwards, by all means, I'm at info@officesmarts.ca, or you can call the shop here at 254-5136. So the top 5 things, I promised you a handout, the top 5 things you must do to dramatically increase your qualified online traffic. We've kind of covered all this, but I just want to emphasize it again. Number 1 is you want to educate. Educating is selling in the new world, in the new online world. And this is the big difference between a traditional selling process and an online selling process. The big difference is the content has to be online, whereas it used to be the content was delivered by the person, by the sales rep, the outside sales rep, the inside sales rep, the in-store sales rep, whatever. But the new way is that people want to figure it out for themselves online. So you've got to have that information there. So I highly recommend you start a blog. If your target audience, so what do you blog? And that often is the question, what do you blog? And really, what I got verified down in the States from our partner, and really what really resonated with me in my gut was absolutely right, is that often people have a difficult time getting people interested in their products or services. You even see it often at traditional networking events. And the reason is that, like, if you're a professional marketer, the first question you ask is your target audience problem aware or problem unaware? And oftentimes when we're selling something that's a little more complicated, the target audience is problem unaware. So your blog is an excellent place to explain the problem. Introduce the problem, explain the problem. You might even have to have 2 blog postings on this. But if you spend a lot of time in getting that spelled out, then you can send traffic to that blog and start creating awareness for the problem, because that's what you got to do. And a case in point was my client with Superior Walls. Is people weren't aware of the problem, so they didn't really understand what superior walls were and why they were superior until we went ahead and started addressing the problem. And it's when we addressed the problem through our blogging and sent traffic there that we generated instantly more interest in the solution. So a blog can be very, very powerful for you, and is really a great place to start. Number 2 is use online advertising options to send your message to your new blog post or landing page to a large targeted audience. These social channels are incredible for targeting, and it's extremely cheap to get your message on thousands of eyeballs. And yeah, not all of them are going to be interested, but if you can, for $100, get 200 people to click on your website or on your message or landing page, that's good business. That's a good place to start. Number 3 is work diligently with your satisfied clients to build up your online review portfolio. This is something that everybody can do. It's a lot of work because you got to handhold your client or clients, and you don't want to ask everybody because maybe it's not appropriate. But these online reviews are something that are becoming more and more important, and people are looking at those things, and they're making their buying decisions based on what some of the previous customers are saying. There's no doubt. Ask yourself if you look for online reviews. If you do, then it must be important to you. So if it's important to you, it should be important to your customers or prospective customers. Number 4, we talked about this in the sense that you want to send a quarterly e-newsletter to your permission to market email database. I'll even go one step further and saying that is your number 1 goal, is to say, I need more permission to market emails. And when you're marketing, if you don't have contact or the ability to contact your potential clients, you really don't have much. And then number 5 is run a comprehensive integrated communication campaign on your social media channels. Do not just post randomly. If you run a more integrated, well thought out campaign, this will build up your community and online brand image and reputation, resulting in warm referrals and new business down the road. It's an investment. So that's it. I know that probably it could have been a lot. I know that we struggle sometimes because as I've moved from the traditional sales to the online marketing and online sales process. There's a lot of kind of like new words and jargon, and I struggle with whether that jargon is well known enough. And I apologize if there was any jargon in here that might have not been understood. And again, I'm not going away. We've got our business here on Pembina Highway, and if you want to come and talk or have a call, I'd be more than willing to talk to you and explain more on what we were talking about today.
So Dan, we do have one question from Kurt, and his question is, what do you recommend for a sales CRM?
Oh, for a sales CRM? Well, I guess since we're talking about online marketing, you've kind of got in online marketing, you want to be able to, when you get those emails, you want to run more sophisticated and robust automated email campaigns. And there are softwares that focus more on that. The granddaddy of them all, or the Cadillac version, would be called Infusionsoft. But the one that I recommend if you're just getting started out, something a little bit more robust than the automated email softwares like MailChimp or Constant Contact, would be ActiveCampaign. Now, you're asking, Kurt, you're asking specifically for a CRM, and yes, both Infusionsoft and ActiveCampaign can do that. You can turn those on. You just really need to understand your needs a little bit more, because if you need more Salesforce automation, you might want to go with more of the Salesforce automation. There's stronger tools for Salesforce automation. But since we're talking about online marketing today, I'm assuming that you're looking for tools that are stronger in the email marketing automation, and that would be Infusionsoft and ActiveCampaign.
Kurt, I've just unmuted you. Did that answer your question, or did you have some comments? Or maybe I didn't unmute you. I think I did.
Kurt's not unmuted.
Oh. No, Kurt said that's good.
Okay.
Thank you, Kurt.
Yeah, ActiveCampaign is, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, go on. No, you please go ahead.
No, ActiveCampaign is, we use that a lot for our clients, and it's simple and it's easy, it's user-friendly, and you can turn on all the components, so it's not nearly as costly as some of them. And when you get into, if you really want more of the marketing side of it, when you get into the Salesforce automation tools, they're not nearly as robust or easy to work with. And I'm just thinking of it from a perspective of a small business, but and that's the assumption I'm taking when I'm answering the question.
Great. Were there any more questions from the attendees? Okay, so I'll maybe just very quickly let you know where your handouts are. On the right-hand side, there should be in your the bar going down the right-hand side of your screen, there should be a little section for handouts. There are 3 handouts that we've uploaded for you that you're able to download. One of them is just a copy of our affinity program, and that will show you all of the businesses that are participating in the Better Business Bureau Affinity Program and some of the offers that they have. Below that, you'll find the Office Smart Marketing Affinity offer specifically, and that's the offer that Office Smart has included with the Affinity Program with the Better Business Bureau. And the third handout that's available would be the handout that Dan just reviewed with us a moment ago. So just in closing, I'd like to thank Dan for his presentation today and for all of you for your time in attending. Just a reminder that our next webinar will be hosted on November 24th, and it'll be hosted by Marin Media Incorporated, and Jenny Marin will be here to talk to us about that. So be sure to watch for your registration to sign up for that webinar. Thank you very much. Is there anything else you had to add, Dan?
No, I just thank you very much for this opportunity. I enjoyed it, and thanks.
All right, thank you very much.